Good evening. I'm Brian Manning. I'm a political asylum lawyer, and my law firm, Political Asylum Lawyers, is located in Texas, but we help people all over the country to secure their future in the United States through asylum. I'm going to take your questions. Go ahead and start leaving them in the comments. First of all, say hello. Tell me where you're from. Tell me where you're watching from. Love to see where the folks are joining us from. So say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're watching us from tonight, where you're joining us from. And I'm going to answer your questions. Let me know what questions you have about winning asylum in the United States. All right. Go ahead and start leaving your questions. But before I get to them, I want to say a couple words about something really important that I came up with a colleague of mine. So you know that after you apply for asylum, you're eligible to get your work permit, your employment authorization document, 180 days after you've applied for asylum, right? You can apply for it at the 150-day mark, but they can only actually grant it to you after 180 days. So 180 days have to pass before you're actually eligible to get the work permit, right? Based on your pending asylum case, okay? Now, there's certain things that can happen that can stop that clock. There's like an imaginary clock. Well, it's a real clock that counts from the day that in the system, the government says, okay, asylum application accepted as of X day. And then there's like a clock that counts up to 180 days, right? 150 for you to be able to even sit in your application for your work permit, and then 180 to be able to actually get it, to be eligible for it, okay? And there's certain things that can happen that can stop that clock, okay? They're called applicant-caused delays. And there's one that I want to tell you about today that's actually really common. It comes up a lot that can really mess up your life, to be frank with you, okay? When you move and your asylum case is transferred from one jurisdiction to another, this is considered an applicant-caused delay that can stop your EAD clock. The EAD clock is that clock that's counting up to 180, okay? Stands for Employment Authorization Document. So let's say you have an affirmative asylum case pending with USCIS, okay? The Asylum Office. And you move from California to Florida. Well, when you notify USCIS that you've moved, your case automatically gets transferred from one state to the other, right? Because those are totally different asylum offices that handle those kinds of cases. And once your case is transferred, normally they stop your EAD clock. That's considered an applicant-caused delay when you move from one jurisdiction to another. And here's the tough part. It will not start again until you actually have your asylum interview, almost for sure. Almost for sure, it will not start until you actually have your asylum interview. And that could be years, meaning your clock, you could apply for asylum 1 month later, you move from California to Florida, and your clock stops, and it doesn't start again until you have your asylum interview years later, maybe. So you can't work. You can't get a work permit in that time. And this can be absolutely devastating for people, right? Because you got to work. You know, most people, you need to work to support yourself. And maybe you've got family here that are depending on you. And so you need that work permit, right? Now, in immigration court, it's a little bit different. Usually you can move from one place to another without your case automatically being transferred. Well, it's never automatically transferred, but the judge can themselves say, hey, I see that you moved. It's appropriate for us to transfer your case to the new court. And that could stop the clock. Or the prosecutor for ICE, the government lawyers who are trying to deport you, they can make a motion to the judge and say, Judge, this person has moved and it would be best to have their case heard in this new court. Let's transfer it there, please, Judge. And if the judge agrees, your case gets transferred. Guess what? Applicant-caused delay, your EAD clock stops, okay? Now, if you move and neither of those things happens, like neither the judge nor the prosecutor ask for the transfer, you can ask for it if you want, but if you don't ask for it, it probably won't happen. In immigration court, usually the case does not get transferred unless you, the asylum applicant, asks for it to get transferred through a motion for a change of venue motion. You ask them to transfer your case to the new court where you live. So in the affirmative context with USCIS, it's pretty much automatic, but in immigration court, it usually doesn't happen unless you ask for it. So keep that in mind if you're considering moving before you reach 180 days, okay, post-application. Because if you move and your case gets transferred, there's a good chance it will stop your asylum clock. In immigration court, it's going to start again when you have your next immigration court hearing. So hopefully that won't be very long from the time that you move, right? It could be weeks or months or whatever. But at the asylum office right now, it looks like it's going to be taking a while to get your interview. So it is not a good idea to move while your case is pending until after you have reached those 180 days post-asylum application, okay? So keep that in mind. I saw this happen recently with someone where they moved. Their case had been pending almost 150 days, and they moved, and their case got transferred, and they applied after 150 days, and they got denied. And the reason was, well, their case had been transferred. That's considered an applicant caused delay. The EAD clock was frozen at whatever it was when they moved or when USCIS made the transfer. And it's not going to start again until the asylum interview, and who knows when that will be. So keep this in mind. Talk with your asylum lawyer about this before you ever move if you've got an application pending. It's okay if you get past 180 days, then the asylum clock doesn't matter anymore. You just have to hit your 180 days. It's okay if you then move, your case gets transferred, and then your clock stops and freezes after that. It doesn't matter because you've reached the 180 days that are necessary for you to be eligible for the work permit. So you're cool in that situation. But before 180 days, you got to be careful, okay? Again, I'm Brian Manning. I'm a political asylum lawyer. My law firm is called Political Asylum Lawyers. Find us on YouTube. If you're watching this on LinkedIn or anywhere else, TikTok, go over to YouTube, search for Political Asylum Lawyers. That's where you're going to find all of my best stuff. Please subscribe so that you don't miss the new stuff that we're putting out all the time. There are tons of really detailed asylum trainings on there, okay, for asylum interviews, for court stuff. I've got some really in-depth tutorials that I think are really going to help you do a better job and increase your chances for success in your asylum case so that you can secure your future in America through asylum. I'm Brian Manning. I'm ready to take your questions. Let's see who's saying what over on TikTok, YouTube. Hey, guys. Okay. Nice. Thank you for saying that. Hello on YouTube. We've got Rashid. Hey, hello. How are you? Hello. If we got somebody. We got Sky. Does that say? Yeah, in New York. Sky Lover in New York. Hello. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. DC area here. Nice. I love Washington, DC. I lived in the DC area in Northern Virginia 3 different occasions for altogether about 2 years when I was a diplomat. So I'm an asylum lawyer now. Before that, I was an asylum officer with USCIS. Before that, I was a diplomat with our foreign ministry, the Department of State. And I lived 3 different times in DC for training stuff for that. I love it. DC is one of my favorite cities in the world. Nice. San Jose, California. Got quite a few clients there. Thanks, Veronica. Nice. Watching from Belgium. All right. Well, understand that. Thank you for joining us, but understand that I'm talking about U.S. asylum law. Okay, it's pretty similar to the framework that you're going to see in different countries in the European Union, because we all base our systems off of the UN Refugee Convention. But there are going to be important differences. Okay, so you can't just take stuff that I'm saying here and expect it all to apply in Belgium or anywhere else in the EU where you might seek asylum. You need to talk to an asylum lawyer who's licensed in that country. Okay. I'm watching from USA. Thank you. Nice. All right. Okay. We got a question. Let's go with, let's start on YouTube. We've got Afrian. Sorry if I mispronounced it. Says, hello. Any possibility that I'll win asylum if I got first DUI? So the question here is, can you get asylum in the United States if you get a DUI? DUI stands for driving under the influence, which can mean influence of alcohol, or it can be other drugs as well. So if you get pulled over and you get a ticket for this, and you may get a big fine, you may get a little bit of jail time. The question is, can you still get asylum if that happens in your case? And the answer is yes, maybe. It's not a deal breaker. Okay, that's something though that you need to talk with an asylum lawyer about before you apply, if you haven't yet applied for asylum. But if you've already applied, you need to talk with your asylum lawyer right away about it so they can look into it, because it's tricky. Okay, the whole issue of crimes and their potential impact on your asylum case can be complicated. You need an asylum lawyer to start looking into it right away to advise you. Okay, so I hope you'll do that. Okay, but the good news is it's not necessarily going to keep you from getting asylum. All right. Thank you for asking. So Michael says on YouTube, I've lived in the U.S. for about 1.5 years. Can I apply for asylum? Thanks for the question, Michael. I appreciate it. So the question here is, Can you apply for asylum even though you've already been in the United States for a year and a half, let's say more than a year? The answer is maybe. So you might know that there's this rule called the 1-year filing deadline that says that normally you got to apply during your first year in the United States. And if you can't do that, if you don't do that, you're barred by the 1-year filing deadline. But there's 2 categories of exceptions. Okay. And you might be able to qualify for one of those sort of categories. There's a bunch of kind of subcategories. There are a bunch of things that fall under these 2 main categories. And this is something that you really need an asylum lawyer to assess with you, all right, to go through carefully to figure out your chances of, of success in terms of getting over this hurdle of whether you meet the qualifications for an exception to the 1-year filing deadline. The good news is that people do this all the time. It's not uncommon to actually, yes, qualify for an exception to the 1-year filing deadline, meaning it's okay to apply for asylum. You can still win, even though you're applying outside of 1 year. Okay. Thanks for your question. We've got Adam says, "You are the best. Watching from California." Appreciate the kind words. Thank you, Adam, for the kind words. Very, very nice of you. And then let's go to TikTok. I already pulled up YouTube. I applied for asylum 1 month ago. Congratulations on getting your asylum application in, Rashid. That's a big deal, a big step. I want you to know, Rashid, that if you maybe you already have an asylum lawyer, but if you don't, it's not too late. There's still a lot that an asylum lawyer can do to help you strengthen your case and give you the best possible chance of winning asylum, even though you've already applied. Okay. So we get this question all the time. Well, I already applied for asylum. Maybe you used a paralegal to help you, or a so-called notario, or you did it all on your own. And the question is, okay, well, is it too late to hire an asylum lawyer? Is it still worth it? Is there anything they can do to help me? The answer is, it's not too late. Yes, you can still improve your chances for success by hiring an asylum lawyer now, even though you applied without one. Okay. With our clients, we take 3 main steps when they're in this position. We do a supplemental filing, which is basically an asylum roadmap. It's your case presented on paper in a very particular way, where we're showing the asylum officer or the judge everything they need to know to see that you meet all the requirements for asylum. That's step 1. Step 2 is preparation. We're going to prepare intensively ahead of your asylum interview or individual hearing in immigration court, so that you go into that day with confidence, prepared, ready to do a good job and to tell your story in a compelling way and to answer very difficult, sometimes very hostile questions expertly. Okay. And then the 3rd step is representation, where we're going to represent you on the day of your interview or hearing to make sure your rights are defended and to make sure that that judge or asylum officer knows exactly how you meet all of the requirements for asylum. So it's not too late. There's a lot. We have lots of clients that come to us after they've applied, and we help them to strengthen their case, give them the best possible chance to win, and help them secure their future in America through asylum, because that's what we're all about. That's what we love. That's what we do every day. All right. Let's see. Let's go to TikTok. Can someone who's in immigration court work in another state? Thanks for the question. So to restate, the question is whether someone who is in immigration court proceedings and is seeking asylum there, can they work in a state other than the state in which they're in immigration court proceedings? The answer is yes. You can move freely. Well, if ICE, if the Immigration Enforcement Agency, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has told you that you need to ask them and check in with them before moving, then you need to do that. If they've told you need to get permission before moving, you need to get their permission before moving. If you get that permission, or if they've never told you that, then you can move anywhere you want in the United States. Okay. It doesn't matter where your immigration court case is pending. And you can work legally anywhere. As long as you have a work permit, that work permit is valid anywhere in the United States. It's not limited to any certain state. It's not limited to the state where your court case is taking place. It's not limited to the state where you originally went after you got out of immigration detention. The good news is you can work in any state with that work permit, even when your case is in immigration court. Okay. All right. Thank you for the question. Let's keep rolling here. Let's go over to let's go over to YouTube. By the way, TikTok, LinkedIn, X. Go to YouTube. All right. That's where Facebook, that's where my best stuff is. Okay. My YouTube channel is called Political Asylum Lawyers. That's where I've got full-length trainings, tutorials that are going to help you increase your chances for success in your asylum case, I think. So go to YouTube, search for Political Asylum Lawyers, subscribe, and go to the playlist. Start with the playlist, okay? Because I've got some that I think are going to help you. All right. Kamal says, hello, sir. Kamal here. My case has been pending for almost 5 years in New York. Can I expedite my case based on family conditions in Burma? So thanks for the question, Kamal. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry to hear that you've been waiting for so long. It's got to be incredibly difficult. And I'm sorry to hear that you're separated from your family back in Burma. So the question is, your immigration case has been pending with the Asylum Office for 5 years, and you've got family back in your home country, and you're asking, can you expedite or speed up your immigration case, get your asylum interview, and get a decision sooner based on the fact that you've got family back in your home country? Well, just having family back in your home country is not going to be enough. But if your family is there and they're in danger, or there's some reason that they really need to be in the United States, like some kind of severe health issue, or if they're in danger of being persecuted in the same way that you might have been persecuted, then yes, you can use that as a basis to request what is called a humanitarian expedite. Okay. But it's not just any family members. It's got to be people that you would be eligible to bring to the United States through the I-730 process if you were to win asylum. That means your spouse and your children who are under 21 years old and who are not married. Those are the only people that you can really base this around. Okay. You can show that they're in danger or they've got some real dire need to be in the United States. Then yeah, you can use that to try to expedite your case. It doesn't usually work. Okay. The better route is to sue the government. Okay. If you've been waiting really more than 3 years, I think you're in a pretty good position to force your case forward through a mandamus lawsuit. We love these. I love suing the government. I worked for the federal government for 11 years, and I liked it most of the time, but I love suing the government now. Okay. That's how we move our clients' cases forward. That's how we get them their interview when they've been waiting for their USCIS asylum interview for too long. That's how we get them their decision after they've had their interview and they're waiting on their decision for too long. We sue them in a federal court where we're asking a federal judge to go to the Asylum Office and tell them, hey, this delay is unreasonable. You have to give this person their interview or their decision, and you got to do it soon. Okay. So in your case, there's no harm in making that expedite request based on urgent humanitarian concerns regarding your family, but it's unlikely to work. Maybe try it and you can wait a few weeks and you can send a couple follow-up emails if you don't hear anything in a few weeks. But if you don't hear anything back after a few weeks, or if they say no, I would do a mandamus lawsuit. If you want to call us to talk about this, I would be happy to do this. We love doing this. On TikTok, go to my profile page. You'll see our phone number. On everywhere else, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, at the bottom of the screen, you can see our telephone number, okay? 713-909-0401. Call us. And right now we're offering free consultations, okay? In an asylum strategy session, you can talk with one of our asylum professionals about your situation. We're going to go through and analyze it and see what's going on and tell you whether we think we can help you. Sometimes we say no. Sometimes we say, sorry, it's not something we can help with. I don't want to lead you on and tell you we can when I think we can't help you. But if we think we can help you, we'll explain how, and we'll tell you, how to move forward with our help. Okay. So give us a call and schedule an asylum strategy session. You can call us right now. We've got folks at night who can answer the phone, or whenever you're watching this, who can get you set up. Or you can go to the website, winasylum.com. Just type into your browser, WINASYLUM.com, winasylum.com. And right now we're offering free consultations. Okay. We didn't used to do that. We used to charge for all consultations, but right now we're offering free consultations. So take advantage of it while we're doing it, and reach out now. Talk to one of our asylum professionals so that we can see what's going on and tell you whether we think we can help you. Okay. All right. Back to the questions. Thank you. Rashid says, thank you for your efforts. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you for the comment and the kind words. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see. Okay. So in YouTube, Ahmad says, hi, sir, from Virginia. I've applied for an expedited EAD card before filing my asylum. That is, I have not applied for an EAD card based on an asylum claim. In fact, my asylum is still pending. Did you leave a question somewhere else? I don't see it, the rest of your question. Let me know what your question is, Ahmad. It may be this. You may be wondering whether you can apply for an EAD based on your asylum case, even though you already applied for one based on some other category. I don't know what category you had that allowed you to be able to possibly seek a work permit, but it doesn't matter what it was, what the basis was. You can still get this one based on asylum. After you reach those 150 days, you can apply for your work permit based on your pending asylum case. Okay. Adam says, hey, Brian, my asylum case got dismissed. Can I adjust status filing I-45 employment based? Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. So the question is, if your case gets dismissed from immigration court, can you then get a green card through the process called adjustment of status? Can you get permanent residence based on employment? Because, there's certain categories where based on a job, you can get a green card, right? So the question is, can you do that after your case gets dismissed from immigration court? I don't know. Not my area. It's a tricky area. Okay. I focus on asylum, and this is the kind of thing that I think you should talk with an immigration lawyer who focuses on employment-based immigration, because this is a little bit tricky. Okay. And even if it weren't tricky, I would still say that, because I'm a firm believer in the idea that you need to go get help from the person who focuses on the exact problem that you need solved. Okay. It's analogous to health stuff, right? If you have a problem with, a brain issue, you're not going to go to a cardiologist. You're going to go to a neurologist or, brain surgeon, not someone who focuses on the heart, right? Asylum or immigration law is kind of like that. Asylum is very specialized. It's very niched down. It's very different than employment-based immigration. I know asylum. That's what me and my lawyers and my staff at my law firm, we do asylum every single day, all day, every day, 365 days a year. That's what we live and breathe. That's what we know. That's what we're passionate about. So you don't want to hire me for your employment-based green card, okay? We don't take those kinds of cases. So the point is, find a lawyer who focuses on that kind of case, the exact kind of immigration problem that you need solved, and get advice from those folks, okay? All right, we've got Huchuva, sorry for mispronunciation. Hi, I'm watching from California. Thank you for joining us out in California. I love California. You may have seen some of my YouTube shorts and TikToks lately that I wear a San Francisco Giants hat. Not a huge Giants fan, but I love San Francisco. I was there for the first time this last summer, and I loved it. I want to maybe move there someday. I love the weather. I like cooler weather. I live in Texas, where for about 9 months it's like super hot, and I don't like the hot weather. I love Northern California. All right, let's see. All right, so we've got Malik says, as an asylee, can I get university education, and would it be like a resident student or what? This is another area where I can't really tell you with a lot of confidence. This is something that is going to be specific to, I think, the school. So you're going to have to reach out to the schools that you're interested in attending and talk to their admissions people. They should have a concrete black and white answer for you on this. I'm kind of confident that if you're living in a state, like let's say you live in Texas and you're applying to Texas public schools and you're asking whether you're going to be treated as a resident or a non-resident. If you're an asylee, actually, I don't know. I'm kind of confident that you'll be you'll get in-state tuition and be a resident, but I'm not positive about that. That's really not an immigration lawyer question. That's a university question. So reach out to your university, to the ones you're interested in, okay? Oh, great. We've got Badru. Badru says on YouTube, best lawyer for asylum. Thanks for being part of my journey towards success and putting my case together in the strongest way that helped me to win asylum. I love when Badru is on my lives. Badru is, as you can tell from his comments, he's one of our former clients. Badru is someone who I know that he's okay with me telling you this. He sued the government to force his case forward. He was waiting for years. He sued, and he got his interview, and he got asylum. We helped him put together the strongest case possible. Okay, we did those things that I told you about earlier. These 3 steps that we take to help people create the strongest case possible. Supplemental filing, aka asylum roadmap. It's like a roadmap. It's a packet of papers that explains the case in writing, and it's an asylum roadmap because it shows the asylum officer or the judge how to get to the answer yes in your case in the easiest way possible. Okay. Second step is preparation, mock interview. We did a hard, serious, intensive mock interview with Badru, and then a follow-up session where we went back and we gave him critiques and comments and suggestions on how to just be clear and tell his story in a clear, compelling way. And then we represented him during his asylum interview, and he won asylum. Let me address this. There's this question of whether suing the government to force your asylum interview might actually hurt you, whether it might prejudice your underlying asylum case because, could it make you look bad, or make the asylum officer who's going to actually interview you and make the decision ultimately, is it going to make them mad at you or dislike you because you dared to sue the government? Completely reasonable. I can understand why you would think that or ask that question, but the answer is no. I don't think it's going to hurt your case at all. In fact, I don't worry about this at all for my clients. Okay. There's two reasons. First, I don't think they're going to know that you sued. When I was an asylum officer with the government, we didn't know this. We didn't know that someone had sued or threatened to sue. That information just didn't go in the asylum file. And I'm pretty sure that it's still that way because we've been suing a lot with a lot of success. And never once has the asylum officer said anything about the fact that our client sued or acted weird. I don't think they're holding it against us if they do know. So that's the second thing is, even if they do know, I don't think they're going to care. Okay. In the United States, we are a very litigious society. Litigious is a fancy word to mean that we sue a lot. For us in the United States, it's like taking out the garbage. It's no big deal. We do it all the time. So it's just, people understand here that, someone in your position who's been waiting for years for their case to finish, they want certainty. They want finality. They want confidence around their future in the United States. And that's what we do for people. We help people win asylum, sure, but winning asylum is worthless. What you're really getting when you win asylum is you're getting confidence and security and safety. You get to stay here permanently, and you get to be safe in the United States, and you get to build your future in the United States with confidence that you can stay here, that you're going to be safe and you're going to be here. Okay. So no, I don't think suing the government is going to in any way hurt your underlying asylum case. Okay. All right. All right. This is a good question. How does it say? Rebirth Aura? It says, hi again, DC area again. I wanted to ask what you would advise for someone self-applying. I'm new here and I can't afford a lawyer. What tips and what tips do you advise? I'm about to apply on my own. Go to my YouTube channel. You're on my YouTube channel. Go for everyone else. Go to my YouTube channel. All right. So here's the question. For someone who can't afford a lawyer, what should they do? Well, first of all, try to afford a lawyer. Okay. People are creative. We have clients that they realize just what is at stake. They realize how important this case is to their future, to their security, to their ability to live here, their future in America, and to their families. And so they're creative. They get support from people in their community, family, friends, to be able to hire the lawyer they think is going to give them the best possible chance to win their asylum case. But if you still can't do that, well, you might be able to get a free lawyer, a pro bono lawyer. I recommend Googling Catholic Charities. Google Catholic Charities in the name of your city to see if you can have them take your case for free or low cost. They're good. Catholic Charities is usually good. Absent that, the other thing or even if you do that, go to my YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search for political asylum lawyers, and then go to playlists, okay? And on playlists, look at the playlist that is called Full-Length Asylum Trainings. And you're going to find a lot of videos there, very detailed. Some of them are like 2 or 3 hours long. Some of this stuff is intense. Some really detailed trainings that I've created based on my experience as a former asylum officer and former diplomat, where you're going to find lots of good tips, okay? And for people who are just now applying for asylum, I've got a training where I show you how to fill out the entire application form. I literally go through every single box on the form, and I tell you what it means, what they're asking for. I tell you how to fill it out, okay? So that's in the playlist on my YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search for political asylum lawyers, and then playlists, and then full-length asylum trainings, and then one of them is like how to fill out the I-589, okay? That's where you should start. Good luck. I wish you the best. Okay. Thanks for your question. Okay. All right. Question from Rebecca on YouTube, who says, how can I expedite my asylum case in Massachusetts? They seem to never schedule interviews for asylum applications. It's been 3 months since I applied. Thanks, Rebecca, for the question. Appreciate you being with us, and I wish you all the best. So the question is, what can you do if you applied for asylum 3 months ago and you haven't gotten your interview? Is there any way to sort of force your interview to push things forward? The answer is probably not. Okay. I was talking earlier about how sometimes you can sue the government. You can bring a lawsuit in federal court to force the Asylum Office to give you your interview, to move your case forward. But at present, we're telling people that you really have to be waiting about, I would say, a minimum of 3 years to be in a good position to have success with that kind of lawsuit. If you've only been waiting 3 months, that lawsuit's not going to work. Okay, you'll lose that lawsuit. You might be able to get a humanitarian expedite. Okay, so the two main ways that you can force your asylum case forward with USCIS is by suing. If you've been waiting 3 or more years, then I think you have a decent chance for success. The other way is through a humanitarian expedite request. If you or your family members are in bad shape, if you've got some kind of medical issue, urgent medical thing, physical or psychological challenges that you're going through, like depression, for example, maybe stemming from the trauma that you endured in your home country, then this can be a reason to expedite your case. But you need to explain it in like a statement, like a letter from you where you explain the situation. And ideally, you would have a mental health provider, like a psychologist, psychiatrist, explain what you're going through and how it's affecting you, what any diagnosis that you have. Maybe you have, you're depressed, you have issues stemming from your persecution, and also from the fact that you have this uncertainty in your life, this instability, because you can't plan for your future because you don't have permanent status, and because you're afraid that you might get sent back to your country. So if your psychologist says, hey, I think that a lot of this is caused by the uncertainty and the fear of possibly still having to go back to their country, and that if they got their immigration case sorted out, it would probably be really good for their mental health. If you get a letter that says that, that can be powerful. That can help you to get your interview expedited. I posted a video on YouTube about this in the last few weeks. Go to my YouTube channel, go to YouTube and search for political asylum lawyers. And there's a video that's called something like how to get a mental health professional to expedite your asylum case. It's something about mental health professional and expedite, where I go through this in detail, where I talk about the kind of things that you would have your mental health professional ideally be saying. Of course, assuming that it's all true. I'm not encouraging anyone to make anything up. Everything that you say, everything that you communicate to the Asylum Office or the immigration court needs to be 100% true and correct. Honesty is the best policy. Honesty is the best policy. Okay. All right. But I wish you all the best. Okay. You're the best with all the information you've given us, says Moses. Thank you, Moses, for the very kind comment. I appreciate it. All right. What else do we have? Nice. Okay. On YouTube, Hugh says, after introducing a supplemental filing, how long will USCIS schedule the interview with a pending application for asylum? Thanks for the question, Hugh. Appreciate it. So the question is, after we send in this supplemental filing to the Asylum Office, how long will it take for the Asylum Office to schedule the interview? So I've explained that with people who've already applied for asylum, we do 3 steps. Well, we do these steps even if they've applied, if we help them apply. I mean, the first step is the supplemental filing, also known as the Asylum Roadmap. This is the packet where we're explaining in detail why our client qualifies for asylum, okay? It consists of a declaration from their perspective that we work on together. It consists of evidence that they get after we make a list of what we think they should try to get. And it consists of a legal brief that my office writes where we apply the facts of their case to the law to show the officer exactly how they meet all the requirements. The idea with this packet, the supplemental filing, Asylum Roadmap, is that when our client walks into the Asylum Office for their interview, we want the officer to already be thinking, okay, based on the documents in this case, I can see how the person meets all the asylum requirements. I plan to give them asylum as long as they say things at their interview that line up with what's in these documents. That's the goal. But the question is, how long from that point that we file this until the interview? Well, there's no way to know for sure, okay? In the cover letter, though, for the supplemental filing, I say, by the way, their case has been pending for X years. This delay is not reasonable. Please schedule the interview right away. Rarely, very rarely, but sometimes this works. Sometimes this is enough to get the asylum office to schedule the interview. And it could be very soon. We've had it happen just like a few weeks after filing that before, but that's rare. Usually they do not file it. They do not schedule the interview as a result of us submitting the supplemental filing. So what we do is we file the supplemental filing. In the cover letter, we say, please give them the interview. So we're asking for the interview. We wait 1 month. If a month goes by and the interview has not been scheduled, then if our client agrees, we send a letter threatening to sue. We say, listen, okay, it's been too long. If you don't if you don't give us the interview, if you don't send us the interview notice in the next 30 days saying that the interview's been scheduled, we're going to have to sue you. Okay, so we send that letter threatening to sue, and then we wait 30 days. And if the interview hasn't been scheduled, then our client can sue them if they want. And we file a lawsuit, and that usually works. In fact, at the time that I'm making this video, it has worked every time that we've done it. We've never had to actually fight it out in court. Every single time, the government's lawyers have called us and said, Brian, we don't really want to fight this case. If your client will just agree to make this go away, to drop this case, then we'll give them the interview and the decision. And that's how this gets resolved, because the government doesn't want to fight these cases if they don't have to, especially if they know they're going to lose. The longer that you've been waiting for your interview, the more likely you are to win if you have to actually fight this out to the end in federal court after suing in a mandamus lawsuit. And the government knows this. So, at 2 years, if you've been waiting 2 years and you sue, they might fight that, because the government might be thinking, no, we got a pretty good chance to win this. So they're likely to fight you on that. 3 years, I think you're in a good position to have success. 5 years, you're in a very good position. 7 years, you're almost certainly going to get your interview if you sue, okay? Because if the government tries to fight it and they're like, Judge, 7 years is delay and 7 years wait is not unreasonable, the judge is probably going to be like, yeah, right, that's ridiculous. Give them their interview now. So then the government will have wasted their time and resources and energy fighting this case out in federal court when they knew all along they were going to lose. So the longer you've been waiting, the better chance you have for success with this mandamus lawsuit. Okay. All right. Very good question. This is super important. Thank you. Rezi on YouTube says, will my asylum clock be stopped if I go to the master calendar hearing without a lawyer? Thanks for your question. The question is, if you show up to your master calendar hearing in immigration court and you don't have a lawyer, will your EAD clock, your work permit clock, stop? So remember, you need to get to 180 days after having filed asylum before you're eligible to get your work permit based on your pending asylum case. And there's this clock, the EAD clock, that's counting those 180 days. And there's certain things that can make it stop, make it freeze, including any applicant-caused delay. Well, asking to reschedule your immigration court hearing is an applicant-caused delay, which will stop your immigration clock, your EAD clock, your work permit clock. So if you show up to your master calendar hearing, to answer your question, and you don't have a lawyer with you, well, the mere fact that you don't have a lawyer won't stop it. It's if you say, Judge, can we reschedule this? I'd like some more time to get a lawyer. The judge will almost certainly say yes, at least the first time that you ask for that. But it's going to stop your clock, and your clock isn't going to start again until you have your master calendar hearing. Your next master calendar hearing, it will likely, hopefully be soon, within a couple or a few months, but it might not be. It could be a year, it could be 2 years. So keep that in mind, okay? But if you show up without a lawyer and you go through with the hearing, like you actually say, no, Judge, I want to go ahead and do my hearing today, and you answer the judge's questions and you complete the things that are supposed to be done at this hearing, it won't stop your clock. So the mere fact that you don't have a lawyer won't stop the clock. But asking to reschedule the hearing because you don't have a lawyer and you want to get one, yes, that will stop your EAD clock. So keep that in mind, okay, before you go to a hearing and ask that hearing be rescheduled. If you're already past 180 days after having applied for asylum, then it doesn't matter because you've hit those 180 days. So it doesn't matter that your clock stops after that, okay? Veronica on YouTube says, how long does it take for an asylum interview to be scheduled? Thanks for the question, Veronica. So the question is, what is the wait time right now to get an asylum interview with USCIS, with the Asylum Office? And the answer is it's going to be a while. There's no way to tell you this with certainty. There's a ton of factors that come into play, and these policies that affect the timelines are constantly changing, and the priorities, the way they have to prioritize certain types of cases, makes it such that it's impossible to predict how long it's going to take for you to get your asylum interview when you apply for asylum. The policy of the Asylum Office is still, okay, we want to give them their interview as soon as possible after they apply. They would like to give you your interview within 2 or 3 months after you apply. And that was happening for a while, but it's not happening now. It's not happening recently, mainly because asylum officers, they have to focus, the Asylum Office has to focus their priorities on, focus their resources on credible fear interviews, which are kind of like mini asylum interviews that are done for people who come to the border. And the more people that come to the border, the more credible fear interviews need to be done. And this pulls asylum officers away from what are called affirmative, normal asylum interviews and pushes them over to have to do credible fear interviews. So then the asylum interview line gets backed up longer. So I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take if you apply now for asylum. You need to go into it with the mindset, psychologically prepared that it could be a long time. It could be many months. It could be years. It could be many years. If you get to 3 years and you still haven't had your interview, then we should talk about suing the government to force action in your asylum case. Okay. Thanks for the question. Give us a call. TikTok, go to my profile and you'll see the telephone number on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, X, down below. It's coming down there. Call us now, 713-909-0401. Give us a call to schedule an asylum strategy session. We help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. We're based in Texas, but we help people in every state. We've got clients all over. Lots of clients in Texas, as you can imagine. Lots in Florida, lots in California, lots in New York, lots in Illinois around Chicago, and all over really. So give us a call. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter whether your case is in immigration court or pending with the Asylum Office at USCIS. We help people in both of those positions. We help people who have already applied. We help people who have not yet applied but are interested in applying. So call us and schedule an asylum strategy session so that one of our asylum professionals can see what's going on and tell you whether we think we can help you. Okay. And if so, we'll tell you how. All right. Nice. Thanks. All right. That is it. We're wrapping up. Thanks for joining me on this Sunday evening for Asylum Q&A, for the Asylum Answers Show. Again, I'm Brian Manning. My law firm is called Political Asylum Lawyers. You can find us online at politicalasylumlawyers.com, but the best thing to do is go to YouTube and search for Political Asylum Lawyers and subscribe to our channel there. And that's where you're going to find all of our best stuff. It's going to help you increase your chances for asylum success so that you can stay safe and stay here in the United States through asylum. All right. Thanks. I'll see you soon online or give us a call. All right. Bye, guys. Bye, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you.